Before we get this video started, please make sure to like, favor, and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications so that way you never miss out on another video. Almost to 500 subscribers, my Gummy Knights. Let's go ahead and make it happen.
What up, my Gummy Knights? So today we're going to actually be doing something special. We're going to be ranking all the Saiyan transformations. And I'm actually looking at some of these right now, and some of them aren't really, it's really like maybe really one or two that you would be able to really count as Saiyan transformations. But at the same time, I guess I can see where people are going. So the way I'm going to be ranking the transformations is by power, aesthetic, usefulness, and overall appeal. And so what I mean by overall appeal is basically how much does it appeal to me as an overall form in terms of the way I've experienced the form and things of that nature. So essentially, this is going to be all opinionated, and of course, you guys are going to be able to form your own opinion and things of that nature when you do this on your own. Of course, link is going to be down in the description below. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this started. And so we got the first one here, the Ozaru transformation. Now, the Ozaru transformation, I think in some aspects I do really like in terms of overall power, so it gives you a 10 times increase, right? It gives you a 10 times boost. I feel like by this point in the series, the only way that this form would be useful is if you're using it in order to become Super Saiyan 4, or if you're a much stronger Saiyan and you still happen to have your tail and you can utilize the form. Because then it would automatically give you a 10 times boost, but as far as like its real overall aesthetic, it just looks like a giant monkey, so it's not really pleasing to that. And as far as like the overall power, like I said, it does give you a 10 times boost, but at the same time, I mean, who couldn't defeat a giant ape at this point? Who in the series couldn't? Now, granted, I will say that it does meet the mark in terms of having a good power thing, because again, it is a 10 times multiplier. But if I'm gonna have to rank it, I'm just gonna have to put it in. I'm gonna put it in C. Okay, I just don't really feel like this form is anything super special. And as far as the way it appeals to me, I mean, I've never really had any great experience with this form. Like when I first seen the form way back in Dragon Ball Z when Gohan first did the transformation, it was like, because I watched Dragon Ball later. Like I went back and watched Dragon Ball, so I didn't really see Goku transform, but I saw Gohan. Gohan was my first experience with it, and it was just into me. I don't really feel like it was all that useful, except like when the Saiyan Saga came around. But it's just not really that much of an appealing form, and then it's not really that much of an appealing form to me in terms of its personality and things of that nature, and also, doesn't really meet the aesthetic. But it does work for power, so if you can get it under control, and you want a 10 times increase to your power, and you don't mind being a giant gorilla, and by all means. Anyway, moving on here to the next one, we got Legendary Super Saiyan, okay? And what I mean by Legendary Super Saiyan, I basically mean like Ascended Saiyan. I mean, like the Ascended Saiyan that Trunks went to. And I personally have called it Legendary. Now, I don't mean like Legendary as in like Broly D Legendary Super Saiyan. I mean like, I don't even mean as Goku realizing the legend. I just call it that. Or Super Saiyan, I believe Grade 2, if I'm not mistaken. It's Grade 2. But it's the really big buff form. Now, this form, I would say, is really powerful. It does really, and you get about a 2 times increase. At bare minimum. I did get about 2 times increase from your Super Saiyan form. But it's... in terms of aesthetic, it does make Trunks look really cool, because they're using Trunks, of course. It does make him look really cool, but I feel like this form would go into the B category. As in, I like it a lot more than Ozaru, and I think it's more aesthetically pleasing, and at the same time, it is more pleasing to me, and based on my experience with it, I understand how useless the form ended up being, but at the same time, I like it. I did not like it when, Khalifa used it. She just looked a bit stupid, except for the giant titties. I mean, that was nice. The giant increase in titties, that was nice. But other than that, it's not really all that useful. It's like, yeah, it gives you a whole bunch of power, but at the same time, if your opponent even has the most monochrome of speed, it's basically a useless form. You'll get tired out really quickly, and anybody can get past you at that point. And don't let them be as strong as you, because at that point you're just asking to die. But yeah. Anyway, I guess moving on. The Mystic form, right, which was achieved by Gohan, by Son Gohan. This is gonna be my first S one, and the reason why I'm gonna put this one at S is because I absolutely love this form. Like, this form is definitely top tier for me. I have nothing but great memories with this form. Now, of course, when I watched Dragon Ball Z, there was a lot of things that appealed to me about Dragon Ball Z. The music, right, the fights and things of that nature, but this is a combination of all of that, right? The song, right, that flowing water song, and I believe it was I believe it was a Bruce Faulkner song that went with Gohan. You know, he's always had that song, and they even had Gohan's theme, and he was just so cool. I felt like this is for the first time he had actually become the main character, right? He had actually strived to that point to become the main character, and even surpassing Goku. He had actually surpassed Goku. This form brings back nothing but fond memories for me. I absolutely love the aesthetic. Like, if you actually look at my character on Xenoverse, I mean, this is the hairstyle I use to model my character. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite forms. I have nothing bad to say about this form. And for me, there's really no personal drawbacks, things of that nature. And also, it just really unlocks your whole potential, and you can further increase that potential. It's like an infinite wellspring of power that you have to utilize and further increase and grow ever stronger as you may see fit. To me, there's really no downsides. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's aesthetically pleasing. Awakens the nostalgia, so it's pleasing to me based on experience. And in terms of power, it literally made Gohan the strongest fighter for a long time, right? He was the strongest. So, I mean, no matter what you want to say, I mean, I just can't get over certain lines and stuff that he used during the Buu Saga with it too, where he's like, fight you? No, I'm here to kill you. I mean, it's just so badass. The form is absolutely amazing. Anyway, moving on. Super Saiyan Blue. Now, Super Saiyan Blue, I know it's not a lot of people's favorite forms, but I'm actually going to put this right up here beside, the legendary form with Trunks. I'm just gonna sit here and say it. I like Super Saiyan Blue. Now, do I think it's worth like an A or an S? Absolutely not. It's not all that. It's just Super Saiyan. And a lot of people get misconstrued about that because everybody's like, wondering what's the multiplier, what's the thing of that. I'm honestly gonna just tell you guys, it's a 50 times multiplier because it's a god just going Super Saiyan. That's all it is. They literally explain that. This is not me making it up out of my ass. They literally explain what Super Saiyan Blue is. Like, everybody just forgets the explanation and just is like, what's the multiplier? What type of form is it? It's a god going Super Saiyan. That's all it is, guys. And even Vegeta's form, and we'll get to that later, right? The evolution, right? The evolved one. It's literally a god going Super Saiyan, and now he's ascended. And you guys remember the ascended Super Saiyan that Vegeta went to, and during the Cell Saga. Basically, that's what his evolved form is. I don't know why people are getting so misconstrued about that. Anyway, in terms of aesthetics, the form is not all that out there. When I first saw the Resurrection F movie, I thought it was the bee's knees, right? But that's because it was new. I mean, it was new in terms of like, oh, it's a new form for Goku and them. But at the same time, I was like, there was a lot of things that made the form pretty decent to me. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's aesthetically appealing, but it's not all that much. It's not all that hype. In terms of power, the only thing that it really has as a drawback is the whole idea of the stamina drain. And especially like when you stack things on top of it, like we're gonna see later on this list, because you know we have another form for it, you know, Goku stacking something on top of it. The perfected blue in the manga is just stupid to me. I mean, and I guess I get madder at that because I hate when people try to correlate the manga with the anime when they're clearly, they're the same continuity, but they're two versions of the same continuity. It's ridiculous, and I hate like certain weaknesses that they gave to in the manga. I just thought it was dumb. But Super Saiyan Blue is just gonna have to remain at B. For right now, it's okay. And this is where we get the whole non-really Saiyan transformations here. It's Kaioken. It's not really, anyone can do Kaioken, so it's not really a Saiyan exclusive thing, right? It's not a Saiyan transformation. It's not a transformation at all. It's really a technique. But at the same time, I know it's really iconic with Goku. When I first saw this form, I was absolutely awestruck because I was like, damn, you know, getting to see Goku and that infamous clash between him and Vegeta with the Gallic Gun and the Kamehameha. It's still one of my all-time favorite moments in Dragon Ball. I really like the form. I really do like Kaioken, and honestly, like certain characters, you know, because if you guys didn't know this about me, I do RP, and I do like RP, which is role playing, not the sexual kind. Although I can't engage in the sexual kind. No. But in all seriousness, I'm talking about like fighting RP and, you know, doing things of that nature, you know, role playing, coming up with narratives, coming up with story, coming up with characters, and a lot of Dragon Ball's elements I did base a lot of my characters' narratives off of, and I have used Kaioken. You know, it just shows how much I appreciate the form. But as far as the aesthetic and everything like that, it is really appealing. But at the same time, really what gives this the B ranking is because I just feel such a nostalgia with this form. I love this form absolutely. But at the same time, when I think about it, the drawbacks, you know, given the fact that it could really enter your body and the fact that it's not all that aesthetically appealing, I gotta say it sticks right there comfortably at B. Now moving on to Super Saiyan Rose. Super Saiyan Rose is an interesting thing, but it's actually going to be the first D one we have. Because whereas I think Goku Black did his thing with the form, I personally do not really like this form. Right, to me, it doesn't really give me any type of nostalgia, right? It's not appealing to me based off of the experience front, you know, the standards I set. And in terms of power, it's like, it's cool, but it's just a god, again, turning Super Saiyan. And what makes it Rose is the Pacific God energy that Zamasu, because that's a Goku Black is. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know that, that's what he's using, right? He's essentially just transformed into Super Saiyan, and he has God energy. It's basically Super Saiyan Blue, except even less appealing. I mean, I just don't really feel it, man. I don't really feel anything from it. So yeah, it's gonna stick right there at D. Moving on to Super Saiyan 4. Super Saiyan 4, I will go ahead and give it our first official A. Right, it's the first official A. Super Saiyan 4, when it was first introduced, I was absolutely in love with Super Saiyan 4. Like, I loved pretty much a good chunk of the aspects of Super Saiyan 4, right? The immense power increase. Now, I don't know the exact multiplier for Super Saiyan 4. I mean, nobody really does. I mean, most people say it could be anywhere between 4,000 to upwards of 40,000 in terms of an increase. And that would only get even stronger depending on how stronger Goku and Up could get in terms of base. But, you know, nobody really knows the exact multiplier. Everybody goes around with the numbers, but at the same time, it is really exponentially powerful, right? It's a condensed and controlled power of the Golden Zaru, right? Without all the wildness. Now, it is absolutely downright beautiful, and the way that Goku utilized it specifically, right? His seriousness, but also calm demeanor, and it made him have such a maturity to him that you had never even really seen, even with Super Saiyan 3, which up until that point was his most, like, mature-looking form. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal and amazing. The only thing that's stopping it from being an S is it really doesn't really give me all that. GT itself was kind of terrible, and the form became useless after like one arc, right? Even within the arc in which it was introduced, it kind of like became lessened at some particular point, right? It's supposed to be this new, almost omnipotent level form, and of course I'm using that term loosely, but it's supposed to be like this big upgrade in power and things of that nature, but it doesn't really show it, and it's like Goku kind of like plays around a little bit, and it's still really appealing. It does give me a lot of nostalgia, and its power is great, but at the same time, there's just fundamental problems that I'm having with the form that keeps it from being an S, and also the debate around it. I get so sick and tired of people acting like this form is just the absolute godliest thing they've ever seen. It's not even the best of the bunch. Even when you're looking at some of these other forms, I mean, it's just really alright. Anyway, moving on to the Legendary Super Saiyan form, or the Full Power Super Saiyan form, as it would be redubbed, or the Berserker form, whichever you want to call it, right? It has many names. I'm gonna put this at C. Like, there's not much to say about it. It's just Broly being awesome. You know, he's actually he's a savage Chad, right? He's really buff. The hair is kind of like all over the place, but at the same time, you feel like, okay, you know, that's pretty cool. It's just really not all that. I mean, the only thing aesthetically pleasing about it is the muscles and things of that nature. I mean, that looks pretty cool, especially if you design them right. I mean, that looks pretty alright. And I love the pupilless eyes. I mean, it's alright, but at the same time, it's like really lame. In terms of power, it is really good, but its power alone is not good enough to put it any higher on this list. But at the same time, it is really good power, and in terms of like, it's not really giving me all that nostalgia. I mean, when I think about Broly, I think about him for more than the way his form and stuff worked and the way it looked. Super Saiyan God is going to go into our second S, right? It's going to be the second one for S class. I don't know what to say. This form is pure perfection to me. Not only in terms of its aesthetic, its abilities, its power, stuff like that. I mean, Goku literally became a god. Not only did he look more youthful, not only did he look more calm, he looked more badass than me, right? He had a youthful glow to him, but at the same time, he was fundamentally more mature, right? And the animation, the art style that was utilized for it is absolutely breathtaking. I know it's so simplistic, it's so simplified, but at the same time, it is so fundamentally amazing. I don't have any problems with this form, right? And I love he gets a more goldish tint to it. I love he gets a more goldish tint to him. It reminded me of Hercules, right? If you guys seen that old Hercules movie from Disney, like when he becomes a god, he gets his goldish tint to it. And I've always loved that, right? I've always loved the air of godliness around it. That, you know, so breathtaking and it's so beautiful, and everything about him gets turned up to 11, right? Power, right? His speed, his durability, and not to mention he also gets brand new techniques, you know, like the God Bind, right? Like being able to heal injuries and regenerate. So I mean, and that fiery aura, and literally being able to create key constructs, like his dragon thing that he's able to make. I'm just saying, everything about it. And not to mention, it was the first time that I felt like Dragon Ball had really reached fundamentally into godly realms. I mean, they were already godly characters, but at the same time, when you can clap the universe with a single punch, you gotta get some spec on it. Like, everything about this form is so appealing to me. I absolutely love this form. It is fundamentally amazing to me. Now we get to Ultra Instinct Omen, and I know some people are gonna be like, "Ooh, that's pretty upsetting, dude. You should have been higher," but I think it's still pretty high from where I'm putting it. I'm putting it at an A. Like, really? Ultra Instinct Omen basically is just everything that Super Saiyan God is for me, except to a somewhat lesser degree. And by lesser degree, I'm really just talking about the fact that I don't necessarily think it's as appealing to me as Super Saiyan God. I feel like Super Saiyan God is a little bit more aesthetically appealing to me, and that's really what kind of like kills us from being an S, is the aesthetic aspect of it. Now, like I said, I like Super Saiyan God, even though it's simplistic, I love the way that they do it, right, in terms of the art choice and things of that nature, which puts it up higher. But for Ultra Instinct Omen, whereas I get all the same feelings I do with Super Saiyan God, it's more or less, the power and everything else is still far above. It's more or less, I just don't really feel like it looks too appealing. Like when it was first introduced and we had some concept art, I would have put that as an S, but what we got, although it was still cool and was still fantastic and phenomenal, it just didn't really stand out to me like I wanted it to. And, the form in my mind, I feel like Master Ultra Instinct is just a superior form, so it doesn't really matter in the end with Ultra Instinct Omen. It just kind of feels like, okay, it's nice and all, and it's still cool, but meh. Grand Prix Goku made me like it a little bit more, which is why I'm giving it an A. But at the same time, it's like, meh. It's good, it's really great, it's really fantastic, but And that brings me to Master Ultra Instinct Goku, which is going right at a B. I mean, they didn't really do nothing but give him silver hair, which makes it even less aesthetically appealing for me, in my opinion, than Ultra Instinct Omen. I mean, because they didn't really do anything more fundamental. Like, he looked better when he was just a glowing light of pure energy and power. And if they had left that as Master Ultra Instinct, this probably would have been going up to an S. But now they actually reveal what it looked like, and it's just him with the silver hair. So he looks more closer to the angels and things of that nature. Anyway, Super Saiyan 3. Now, Super Saiyan 3 for me has to go at an A, only because I freaking love Super Saiyan 3. The only real problem that's not making it an S is in terms of the power aspect, the stamina drain, that huge-ass stamina drain. It's just killing it, man. Otherwise, this would be an S. I don't really have much to say about Super Saiyan 3. It really fits all the criteria of being an S, right? It's phenomenal, it's fantastic, the look, the hair, right? That 12-minute screaming. Right, Sean Shimo, I will always give him praise. Despite him being kind of a shitty person in real life, I will always give him praise for the amount of screaming that he did to pull this off. I mean, dude was right. You deserve to get paid for screams. If you're in anime, you know you're gonna scream real loud. So you deserve to get paid for screams, especially when you do one as good as this. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. This was fundamentally one of my favorite forms of all time, and it is still one of my favorite forms of all time, but I can't handle that giant key drain that is on it. Right, especially when it can shorten your lifespan too. It's like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, moving on to Blue Evolution that was brought in by Vegeta. Now, whereas I do love the aesthetic of this form. I absolutely love the aesthetic, and it's really brilliant. I don't really think it's all that much in terms of an appeal to me personally. It's not really there. In terms of power, it's good. It's good. It's great, but I just feel like it's not really. In terms of power, it would obviously rank above most of these, except Ultra Instinct and, stuff like that, but it's just not there yet for me. I felt like it could be more powerful, and really it was just like him, it's really him going ascendant, that's all it is. And whereas the animation and the aesthetic is really good and it's really there, it's nothing really there for me in terms of all that much aesthetic, and in terms of power, I'm just not really feeling it. I feel like it could be stronger, and maybe he'll make it stronger in the future, but at the same time, it's gonna have to remain comfortably at a B for me. Broly's Raffle form. I know some people are not gonna like this because I put the legendary at a C, but I'm putting this at a D. I don't like this. I just don't. I felt like Broly just looked like a spikier hair giant goofball. And the one thing I don't like about the new Broly is that he is such a giant pussy. I don't really like that. So I mean, this form to me is it's alright and all, but I don't really feel it. It's not really doing it for me. He just is a wad of muscle, and that's about it, with spiky hair. Not really different from his base state. Ascended. I'm gonna put this at a C. For the simple fact that I like the power, and I like some of the aesthetic, but again, it's not all that powerful. It was clearly surpassed within the same arc. I mean, just go a few episodes, and it gets surpassed. And whereas it was cool when Vegeta first did it, and the aesthetic is nice, it's not really all that good, and I don't really get fond memories from it. It's just, especially like when you see what Vegeta does during the arc, it's like, yeah, I don't really get fond memories of this form, so it's not really doing anything in terms of experience for me. Anyway, moving on to Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan with Kaioken. Now, obviously, this looks like about Kaioken times 20, I believe. I'm gonna put this at a B. Mainly because I like the way that Kaioken blends in with it, like, especially when it was first introduced. That kind of like silver-like aura, but at the same time, you can tell it's blue, and like most of his outline is red. His body's kind of like red too, and it has this reddish hue and has this reddish tint to it. I think it is very aesthetically appealing, but in terms of power, again, it runs like with Super Saiyan 3. It runs, and especially with Kaioken, it runs the risk of completely destroying your body, as well as a giant, huge consumption, and that's what's really bringing it down. And in terms of fondness, I mean, it got a little bit higher because I remember seeing Goku go Super Saiyan Kaioken, and so reintroducing that concept, which I thought was brilliant. Yeah, it was nice to me. The OG Super Saiyan. Now, I know some people are gonna hate me for this, but I'm definitely put this at a D. No, in fact, I'm gonna put it at an F. I'm gonna make a whole new category. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. It's gonna go at a C, though. Yeah. It's just a bargain bin sale. I'm sorry, Super Saiyan is... It's cool, but there's really nothing to it anymore. Yeah, not much to talk about on it, but I don't really feel it. I don't really feel it anymore. I do like seeing people turn Super Saiyan. That's cool. So it does have that a bit of an aesthetic going for it. But in terms of power, I mean, it's nice. 50 times multiplier, it's really good. But at the same time, you're like, you don't really feel it there. And nostalgia almost wants to make me put it at a B for that alone. But at the same time, you know what? No, okay, I'll give that to it. I'll put it at a B. I think that's fair enough. I think I gotta give it some more respect than that. But at the same time, yeah. If this list had been made when it only went up to Super Saiyan 3, only Super Saiyan 3 was the strongest form. If that's when that kind of like stopped and you can make this list, then it would be a different story, right? I probably would put this up at an A. I'd probably put Super Saiyan up at an A. But now for right now, that's where it's gonna stick. Golden Ozaru is a total D. I absolutely hate this form. It is just so garbage. I was so glad that they turned into Super Saiyan 4. Like, Ozaru for me is already bad enough, but making him a Super Saiyan? No, just no. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Definitely gotta put this up at the S. Everything about it is beautiful, it's breathtaking, it's absolutely amazing, and I love Super Saiyan 2. The aesthetic is really what gets me. Super Saiyan 2 has an even better aesthetic for me than Super Saiyan 3. I love the calm and cerebral, almost cybernetic in nature, right? Such an arrogance, but at the same time, such a calming and cool presence. I still get chills when I see Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. I still get chills, right? When I see Majin Vegeta Super Saiyan 2, I still get chills, bro. Like, it's so fantastic. Super Saiyan 2, everything about it is just amazing, right? It's a combination. A combination of all of their skills, all their power raised up to its absolute maximum and put in a more concise and more contained form. You still get the muscle expansion, you still get the power, you still get the speed, and it's just brilliant. I love it. Finally, with Super Saiyan Rage, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan Rage, I'm gonna put this at a C. Now, the reason I'm kind of putting it at a C is because I really hate how Trunks got this form. I mean, there's not much to like about it. It felt like Trunks only got it because, again, he was the hero of that arc, and that was the whole thing. So he had to be the one that, defeats Zamasu and all that nonsense. It's really whatever. I don't actually care that much about it, but at the same time, I'm like, it's alright. That's all it is. It's really just alright. Like, the form is pretty trash anywhere else, but at the same time, I did like the power boost, and it does have some aesthetic appeal to it. Anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. So, what did you guys think? Let me know what you chose for your tier list. Right? Kind of send me a screenshot or whatever. And, I guess I'll catch you guys in the next one. I actually really like doing this. So, if you guys got any more that you want me to do, that you guys want to see me do, kind of see me. I know this was a little bit off the cuff, a little bit more than the other videos that I usually do. But at the same time, I'm like, meh. I thought this was a fun thing to do. And I'm glad that I did it. Anyway, like I said, catch you guys in the next one. Remember to like, favorite, subscribe, and all that. Peace.
From my grades to my lines, you can't touch Kevin G. I'm a mathlete, a nerd isn't bird, but forget what you heard. I'm like James Bond III, shaking, not stirred. I'm Kevin the The G is silent when I sneak in your door. Make love to your woman on the bathroom floor. I don't play it like Shaggy, you'll know it was me, because the next time you see her, she'll be like.